Stay in the NFC East. The Giants are moving on from Pat Shurmur, officially announcing on Monday that they have fired the head coach after 2 seasons while retaining GM Dave Gettleman. And John Mara spoke on his decision.
Steve and I decided to retain Dave and give him a chance to finish what he has started, which includes so many changes in this organization that people really don't know about. We've had a lot of turnover in our scouting area. We've completely changed how we grade college players. We're deeper into analytics and technology than we've ever been before, and that process is ongoing. And we believe that it'd be a mistake to pull the plug on that after 2 years, particularly when you consider that Dave spent a good part of the first year fighting for his life.
Okay, so it sounds like John Mara is defending why he's keeping Gettleman, all the stuff he's got in play right now. But Dan, have the Giants already screwed this up?
Well, they've created a problem for themselves because at some point they're going to have to, if it doesn't work, you're going to have to blow it up again, as they did when they fired Tom Coughlin, hired Ben McAdoo, did not change GMs. It's almost like a repeat of that situation. So if you listen to John Mara yesterday and he's saying, you know, Dave Gettleman has done all these things that no one knows about, my first reaction is, tell us, right? I mean, like, explain, you can explain why you're keeping him. You can talk about all these changes that
well, he's saying the analytics and all that.
Right, but he's saying that about a GM who sat at a press conference and made fun of analytics people by doing this. And so that, you know, I think they recognize that, you know, that the press conference Gettleman isn't the, you know, inside the building Gettleman. They believe in him. They definitely feel as if his first year was kind of a wash because he had cancer. He's fighting cancer. We don't want to make light of that. And so they feel like he hasn't really had 2 full years to put his program in place. But if the coach doesn't work out, and if the coach and Dave Gettleman aren't a match, which I think will be one of their priorities in the coaching search, is to make sure they are, then I think they're in this cycle where they're going to be doing this again in a couple of years, and they hate that.
All right. You know, it becomes real quick. How can they make it work with a GM that might not be on the same page with a new head coach?
Absolutely. You know, the name we keep hearing there is Matt Rule. And let's say Matt Rule wants to take the job. They could give him final say on all personnel decisions. Hopefully he can work with him and Dave Gettleman for, you know, 3 months, 6 months, and then they could always reevaluate it. And Ryan, when you look at this job, they have a lot of good young talent in the quarterback, Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram. Look, they got to really fix this defense, but they have a lot of pieces there. This may be a little bit of a better job than people realize. And you can, I agree with Dan, it's not an ideal situation, but you could attract a great coach, and hopefully it works with Dave Gettleman. If not, you could reevaluate that down the road.
But if that coach says, I can't work with Gettleman, I want my own guy, you've got Mara already saying, this is our guy. We are sticking with him. Does that leave the Giants with egg on their face?
Possibly, but again, I've been in that situation before when I've negotiated those contracts, and hopefully the solution for the Giant perspective is, hey, Matt Rule or whomever, we're going to give you final say, and we think you could work with Dave Gettleman. We'd like you to give that a chance.
Okay. Who do you like as a leader in the clubhouse, this culture changer?
Yeah, I think Rule is their guy if they can get him. And I think, you know, he worked there in 2012 on Tom Coughlin's staff. They see him as a program builder type. That's what they're looking for here, somebody who can establish a new culture.
And that's the key, Laura. They got to establish something new because this season didn't work out so well, obviously.
Yeah, more on the Giants later in the show, but it does seem that one NFC East team is moving closer to finding their next head coach. As Adam Schefter reports, Ron Rivera is expected to become the next head coach of the Washington Redskins. Rivera would become the 7th coach hired by Redskins owner Dan Snyder. Ron Rivera had 2 distinct eras with the Panthers. His first 5 seasons, where he reached the playoffs twice, including a trip to Super Bowl 50, and then his last 3 seasons, which saw him under 500 with an injured star quarterback in Cam Newton. Let's start with Dan Graziano here, because I think there's an important note in all of this, and I don't mind if you look at your phone, but we're going to talk about the Redskins. You probably have breaking news over there, so
Not
just
yet.
Let us know.
I hope so.
They have fired Bruce Allen and their team trainer. Why is it important that they fired the head trainer for this team as well as Bruce Allen?
Bruce Allen was there 10 years. Larry Hess, the trainer, was there 17 years. I think there was a perception inside and outside that building that these are guys that are Dan Snyder guys, and if you want to be here, you have to accept that these guys are a big part of it. Now those guys are gone. And there have been a lot of issues that have come up with regard to the trainer and the medical staff over the past couple of years with players complaining. Most prominently, Trent Williams, Pro Bowl offensive tackle, did not play this year. Very upset with the team over a misdiagnosis of what turned out to be a cancerous tumor in his head. And he has made it clear his issue was not with owner Dan Snyder, but with Bruce Allen and with the medical staff. So there are changes there. If Bruce Allen is out and there are changes to the medical staff, it leaves open the possibility, and I know Adrian Peterson addressed this yesterday, maybe Trent and the team can reconcile. And if that happens, then that's bigger than whoever they get in terms of head coach.
Yeah, and to Dan, back on your point, the two of the top most 5 important people in the building. You got the GM and you got the head athletic trainer, because the head athletic trainer, when you're talking about injured players, can oftentimes dictate who returns to the field and how expeditiously they return to the field. Now, the 2 most important positions on the football field, we all very much so know, quarterback and left tackle. Where have the Redskins had their issues in regards to training and health? Left tackle Trent Williams, who refused to come back because he had athletic trainer. And then you have the Alex Smith discrepancy, which probably wasn't a trainer issue. But then you look at a guy like Colt McCoy, who got hurt in December of 2018 and didn't return to camp until August of 2019 because of a broken leg. And if you're not a doctor, you don't have to be one to realize it shouldn't take that long. So with that being said, I think Dan Snyder is trying to do his best to say, hey, coaches, please come here because we're cleaning house.
And why now, though, for these sweeping changes? It seems like, why didn't they do this sooner?
Well, I think sometimes perception, but I also, I just thought of another point, another angle. When you look at the Beltway, Dominic, you live down in this area. Okay, who else is in that Beltway? Baltimore Ravens. I mean, you're talking about a team that has a young quarterback who's going to be the league MVP. They're well on their way. And if you're the Washington Redskins and you're looking at what's going on right down the road with the Baltimore Ravens.
That's a great parallel, because it takes everything working congruently in an organization to win. It's hard to win in the NFL. You need your coach, you need your GM, you need your quarterback, you need your training staff, you need your public relations. Like, you need them all working on the same accord to make everyone's job easy and make everyone's job effective. You look at the Ravens, they've been good for so long because they've done that. They've done it without quarterbacks many years. They've been effective. They won a Super Bowl without necessarily a Pro Bowl type of quarterback that we think of. And they went on to win it with Joe Flacco, who's not a guy that we necessarily think of as like a world beater. You do that because of your organization. And then you look right up I-95, just a few miles, and you see what they do there. They've had great players. They've had good coaches. They've had lots of pieces, but they've never had them all at the same time. So I think this is important. Cleaning house and trying to bring in an entire new regime that is thinking the same way. They have a chance there to get a lot better really quickly, because it's not completely without talent or not completely without smart people in the organization. They just had other people that were counterproductive.
Well, and Josh Norman even came out and said yesterday he thinks that Ron Rivera could be the guy who could change that culture for the Redskins. Feels like he'll be given an ample amount of power, too. We'll keep our eye on that one and see if he's officially hired this morning at some point. But we got to talk about the Patriots. And you can't talk about the Patriots without Tom Brady. His 60.8 completion percentage ranks 27th among 32 qualified quarterbacks this season, which is especially concerning considering he's averaging the 26th fewest air yards per attempt. The New England defense looked dominant to start the season. However, since week 13, opposing quarterbacks have a 73 total QBR when facing the Patriots. That's 31st worst in the NFL. Yesterday, we had plays. Excuse me, that's actually what Tom Brady's about to say in just a moment here, but I'm going to actually just toss it to him instead of me talking about it. Tom, take it away.
Yesterday, we had plays I certainly did that I should make, and I didn't make them. That's why you lose games. So we can certainly execute a lot better than we did yesterday. We had too many unforced errors, things that Miami didn't even have to do to stop us. And I think that's when you know you're disappointed in the way you played. It's just self-inflicted errors. If they go make, and I give them all the credit for winning, but, you know, there's things that we did that we shouldn't do. And we got to tighten those things up.
So Tom Brady's saying all the right things, and Mr. T back over here joining us. Now, D. Wood, I feel like around Thanksgiving every year, we're like, okay, look, the Patriots have gotten it working for themselves. Everything's clicking. They're going to be ready to make a run. Why is this year different?
Well, remember, let's rewind back a year ago. Last year, we talked about with the Patriots, they became a ground and pound team at the end of the year, and they rode all the way to the Super Bowl. This year, I mean, it's been a combination of things, whether it's guys being on IR, guys retiring. They're just not the same ball club. And then when you talk about the weapons around Tom Brady, they're young guys and they haven't been making plays. And there's really only a couple guys on offense that are really that Tom Brady is really reliable, you know, really dependent on. Julian Edelman, James White. Other than that, who does he have? So that's a huge issue for this Patriots team.
Yeah, and the defense hadn't been as good of late.
Yeah, no, the defense has been this was essentially a playoff game for them. Like, if they won this game, they would have advanced a round in the playoff. So they were fortunate. They had a playoff game against a team that we think is bad. Their defense just had an offense that we consider bad. All they had to do was stop them from going on an 80-plus yard drive to win a game. That's terrifying. If you can't do it in this situation, that is playoff and level intensity against a team that's bad, you're not going to be able to do it when you play against good teams that are actually in the playoffs.
And a good team is going to come to Foxborough. The Titans play a very physical brand of football. What do we think about that game? Do you think the Patriots make it alive out of that?
Yeah, you know, Laura, it's interesting. When you look at the matchup, Ryan Tannehill led the league in yards per attempt. Tom Brady was 27th, so you never thought we'd say this, but Ryan Tannehill is going